بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وبارك على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we are still discussing the affair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being the Rabb al-Alameen, the Lord of all of creation. And He is a Ma'bud. He's the one that ibadah is directed towards. And Shaykh al-Islām Muḥammad Abdul Wahhāb, he mentions the dalil, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ اعْبُدُوا رَبَّكُمْ وَالَّذِي خَلَقَكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ الذي جعل لكم الأرض فراشا والسماء بناء وأنزل من السماء ماء. And so the proof of that being the statement of Allah Ta'ala, O mankind, worship your Lord who created you and those that preceded you, so that you may be from those that are upon and attain piety. He is the one that has put out the earth, rolled out the earth for you, and made the sky a canopy for you, and sent down from it rainwater. And so, Shaykh Zayd raḥimahullāh, he mentions, in tafsir of this ayah, that the nida, the address, is li-jamī' al-nas. So everyone has been addressed within this ayah. As Allah Ta'ala states, Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind. So everyone's been addressed. وهو من أدلة على الشمول وعموم رسالة نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. And so this is indicative of the fact that the da'wah, the call of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is comprehensive. The call of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is comprehensive. And this is something we mentioned previously, that he alayhi salatu wassalam was a messenger that was sent to all of mankind. And so, hence why we have this kalima, Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, and addressed to all of mankind. So كل من كان من هذا النوع من الأناس عربا وعجما ذكور والإناث كلهم مخاطبوا بهذا الخطاب العام الشامل. And so everyone that is addressed, and everyone that is regarded as being from al-Nas, whether they be from the Arab, whether they be from the Ajam, the non-Arab, whether they be from the dhukur, the males, or the inaf, the females, all of them are addressed with this particular address, which is general and comprehensive. ليتوجهوا بجميع عبادتهم إلى الله وحده لا شريك له. So that they may direct their ibadah towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, without any partners. ولما أمرهم بالعبادة ذكر العلة بوجوبها وإلا هذا التكليف فقال الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم. So there Allah Ta'ala mentions the command of ibadah, the command of their worship. Thereafter mentions this command of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He mentions the illah, and the reason for that. That He subhanahu wa ta'ala الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that created you. And likewise those that preceded you. أي خلق الذين من قبلكم. فما أنتم إلا أمة من أمم فقد خلت كما ثبت في السنن. And the reality is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us. He created those that preceded us. And so we are but a nation of amongst the nations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. As is mentioned in the hadith, which is found in the Muslim Imam Ahmad, where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentions, أنتم توفون 70 أمة أنتم خيرها وأكرمها على الله. And you are from amongst 70 nations, and you are the best of them and the most noble amongst them. And so this is the reality of this ummah, the rest of the ummah, the rest of the nations, and the most noble of the nations. And the reality is, however, that the command of ibadah, the command of worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, is a command for all of the ummah, all of the nations. And it's not something which is exclusive to ourselves. And so thus, when you have the command of Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, then you know that this is for all of mankind, whether they be mankind that have preceded us, whether they be the mankind that were with us today, and those that will come after us as well. And thereafter, Allah Ta'ala mentions in the ayah, الَّذِي خَلَقَكُمْ بَعْدَ عَمَرْ مِنْ عِبَادَ وَحْدَهُ إِيضَاحَ وَبَيَانَ أن الذي خلق ورزق هو الذي يستحق أن يعبد وحده وأن الذي لم يخلق شيئا ولم يرزق وليس بيده حياة ولا موت ولا يستحق أن يصرف له شيء من العبادة أبدا. And so He's the one that's created you. Allah's created you. And so this is a clarification of the reality as to why He is the one that is deserving of worship. And this is by ilzam, as they mentioned. It's something which is mentioned as by necessity. As we understand, if we understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that creates us alone, then our gratitude for the affair of creating us and all the blessings that He's bestowed upon us, which we would not be able to enumerate. If we were to ask to enumerate and count the blessings of Allah Ta'ala, we would not be able to do so. And so upon us is gratitude. Upon us is direct gratitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, essentially by way of ibadah. And the reason why that this ibadah is directed to Him alone is due to the fact that He alone is the one that has bestowed these blessings upon us. He alone is the one that's in control of all the affairs of the creation. He alone is the one that has brought about the creation itself. Ijaduhu. And so, due to this, by ilzam, as we mentioned, by necessity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one deserving of worship alone. And there's nothing that a person has by way of al-hayat or maut, it being about life or being about death, or of course created, or being about sustenance. No one from creation can do so. And so, due to that, they are not deserving of ibadah. They'll never be deserving of ibadah. And so this is what you should understand, barakallahu fikum. That when it comes to the affair of worshiping Allah and essentially establishing this affair of gratitude to Allah by way of ibadah, it's because He is subhanahu wa ta'ala is alone when it comes to the affairs of rububiyyah. He is alone when it comes to the affairs of rububiyyah. Shaykh al-Islām ibn Taymiyyah, raḥimahullāh, he mentions Tawḥīd being of two types, two forms. The first of them is Tawḥīd ma'rifah wal-ithbat. Tawḥīd ma'rifah wal-ithbat. This is the Tawḥīd of the person having knowledge and affirmation. I affirming the affair of ibadah lillahi tabarak wa ta'ala, or affirming the fact that Allah Ta'ala is the Rabbul Alameen, affirming the attributes of Allah, ma'rifah wa ithbat. And the second form, the second category mentioned by Shaykh Zayd ibn Taymiyyah is al-Tawḥīd al-Talab wal-Qasd. Al-Tawḥīd al-Talab wal-Qasd. And the Tawḥīd of seeking, requests, and intent. Essentially the ibadah. And so, if a person has affirmed as ma'rifah or ifbad in the first form. So they've affirmed that Allah Ta'ala is the Rabbul Alameen. They've affirmed that Allah Ta'ala is the Khaliq of kulli shay. They've affirmed that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is the Khaliq of kulli shay. Allah Ta'ala is the one that disposes of the affairs of the creation. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is the one that is alone when it comes to His names and attributes. They affirm that. Then it necessitates the talab wal qasd. It necessitates the second form, which is the ibadah and the worship of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala alone. And so this is why Shaykh Zayd ibn Hādī mentions these particular categories. Question for you, Ikhwah. What can be said in response to the one where it says that this categorization is of two? And most commonly we hear of how many? Three. So what can be said in response to the one that says, okay, some people have a category of two, some have a category of three. Why can we not have a category of four, as is mentioned by others, when they say Tawḥīd al-Hakimiyyah? If we say now that you have Tawḥīd, ma'rifah ifbāt, along with Tawḥīd talab al-qasd, and this is acceptable. And if some say that they have the Tawḥīd al-Rububiyyah, Tawḥīd al-Uluhiyyah, Tawḥīd asma wa sifat, and this is acceptable. Why is it not acceptable to say that you have these three types of Tawḥīd, idafatan, and along with that, in addition to that, is Tawḥīd al-Hakimiyyah, and Tawḥīd of rulership? Why is this not acceptable when the other two are?
Because the other two are the three. The whole Quran revolves around them three. Whereas the half of
What about the two?
the two is basically there is three within the two anyway.
No. Essentially, this is the fact that there are sometimes mentioned as two, sometimes mentioned as three. There are no difference between the two. Is that the categorization of the three, or the categorization of the two, the three are found within them. So, the first type is from those that I mentioned from Shaykh Zayd ibn Hādī was what? Tawḥīd what? Ma'rifah wa ifbāt. And so this Tawḥīd and ma'rifah wa ifbāt essentially is the rububiyyah and asma wa sifat. So this is the affirmation of the rububiyyah and asma wa sifat. Affirming that Allah Ta'ala is alone when it comes to rububiyyah. Affirming Allah Ta'ala is alone when it comes to His names and attributes. That's the first time. The Tawḥīd talab al-qasd is the uluhiyyah, the worship of Allah. So they're one and the same. However, when a person now says that we're going to bring about al-Hakimiyyah, and essentially they make a focus upon one aspect from his rububiyyah, one aspect from his uluhiyyah, one aspect from his asma wa sifat, and try to bring it together into one category. Now, making a focus upon one particular aspect. Now, this is why we say that this is an innovative practice. Because this is not something which was first of all understood by way of the Salaf. Secondly, that this categorization, this fourth categorization, is something which is devoid of completion. Because you're only taking specific parts of each type now. And so that's one issue. Second issue, of course, is the intent behind it. The intent behind it is that this form, this categorization is used as a vehicle for the Khawarij of our time, where they seek to make their da'wah one about leadership and rulership. And they're focusing upon rulers. And seeking, no doubt, to make takfir upon the rulers, with the intent with that to try and overthrow the rulers, to be upon a revolutionary manhaj, revolutionary methodology indeed. And the reality is that the affair of Tawḥīd is one in which the prophets and messengers came to their prospective nations to call the people to. And it was not a means, or it was not something which should be used as a vehicle to call others to a particular way of deviation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Now, and so Shaykh Zayd goes on to mention, as for the mushrikun, the mushrikun, they differ in relation to the different forms of shirk that they fall into. فاليهود عبدوا الثلاثة والنصارى كذلك والمشركون معبوداتهم لا تدخل تحت العد والحصر بالأشجار والأحجار والأخشاب الملحوطة والشمس والقمر والكواكب ذوات أنواع وأشكال مختلفة بحسب الزمان والمكان. And so, when you find those upon shirk, then of course they differ from shirk that they're upon. You have those that worship from the Yahud and the Nasara, the Jews and the Christians, that will worship the free, or worship free others, or worship Allah in terms of free, and Trinitarian belief. Likewise, you will have the mushrikun, and the mushrikun, in which what they worship and whom they worship cannot be enumerated. It cannot be now concisely put enumerated. So you have those that will worship the trees, those that worship stones, those that worship the fashioned wood, the sun, the moon. Now, and so you find that the mushrikeen, they will worship the sun, the moon, the stars, and different forms that are known depending upon the time and place. So if you go to a particular place, you may find that the mushrikun worship these idols. If you go to a particular place, you may find that the mushrikun worship these idols. If it's a particular point in time, the mushrikun may worship these idols. They did not have any form of tamyiz when it came to distinction, when it came to their shirk. Rather, what they were upon was worship other than Allah, and that was the focus of what they were called into. And so, this was the reality of the people. This was the reality of the people before the da'wah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That the people would first and foremost be upon the worship of other than Allah. They were enemies to one another. Likewise, they would look down upon the females. They look down upon the birth of the females and regard it as being something which was lowly, or something which was lowly and shameful. As Allah Ta'ala states in relation to the Arab of the time, وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ الْكَظِيمُ. That if he was granted a daughter from amongst these individuals, the time of Jahiliyyah, granted a daughter, his face would be darkened and become blackened and be overcome with grief. Because he would only want males, only want male children. He only want his male children to carry on his lineage. And so, be from those that would carry on the silah. Because in terms of the people at this time, as we mentioned, they were enemies to one another. At the time before this da'wah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were nothing but warring tribes and factions. And so the reality is that because of that, the focus of the people was always upon war. And how they could overcome. What's the best thing? What are the best commodities for them to have to overcome their enemies? And so, if it came, as soon as they had the knowledge that they had a daughter, then their faces would become blackened and they would overcome with grief, knowing that this that their daughter will not be able to aid in this effort of the wars that they have and overcome their enemies. And so this, no doubt, caused them to not only be overcome with this grief, but fall into this affair of the murdering of the daughters, the killing of the daughters. So Allah Ta'ala states, Surah Taqwīd, بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. And for what sin and what transgression were they killed? Su'al was referred to as Su'al al-Istinkar. A question, which is a question in reality negating the action which was done. They're still making inkar of the action. But they were not killed for any sin. They were not killed for any transgression. They were killed for the fact that they were females. And so this is the reality of the people before the da'wah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so this was their reality. Thereafter, within the same ayah, Surah al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the illa, and Allah ta'ala mentions from the reasons, for the reason, amongst the reasons for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you may be from those that attain piety. That you have taqwā in relation to Allah by way of imtithāl al-awāmir. So you have taqwā in relation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you adhere and you obey His commands. وَاجْتِنَابَ النَّوَاهِي. And you stay away from His punishments or stay away from His prohibitions. وَلِذَلِكَ أَمَرَكُمْ بِالْعِبَادَةِ. And so due to that, He's commanded you with His worship. وَذَكْرَكُمْ بِالنِّعْمَةِ لِكَيْ تَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ بِامْتِثَالِ أَوَامِرِهِ وَاجْتِنَابِ نَوَاهِهِ وَقِيَامِ طَاعَتِهِ مَا دُمْتَ فِي حَيَاةِ الْعَمَلِ. And so, along with that, He's mentioned, within his ayah, the ni'am and the blessings, the ni'mah. He's mentioned the blessing of the earth being laid out for us, the sky being a canopy for us, the rizq coming about from the rainwater. He's mentioned all of this, tabarak wa ta'ala, reminding us of the blessings that He's put forth for us, so that we may be individuals that establish and adhere to His commands, and that we are people that stay away from His prohibitions, and that we establish and we are firmly upon the obedience of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. Na'am, whilst, as long as we are in the hayat al-amal, as long as we are in this abode of amal, action, this particular abode. And Allah Ta'ala mentions something that we all aware of, no doubt, which is the ard, the earth that we walk upon every day. And the mention of the ard is significant due to the fact of what we find of it from manafit, from benefit, and a different form of benefit we find from the earth, and how widespread it is, so that people may become and spread across the earth and live in different parts of the earth in blessing, and are able to perform anything that they need with ease. This is the significance of mentioning the ard, so mentioning the earth. Because if we are brought to, or this is brought to our attention, and the blessings of the earth itself, and due to the blessings, we should worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. If this is brought to our attention, then this no doubt allows us to reflect upon the blessings that we see every day, and allows ease for us in order to worship Allah and adhere to His commands, and stay away from His prohibitions, and essentially be upon ibadah of Allah Ta'ala alone, and be upon Tawḥīd. And thereafter Allah Ta'ala mentions وَأَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً, and He sent from the earth, or from the sky, He sent from the sky water, rainwater. And this rainwater, no doubt, is the sabab al-rizq, is the reason for our rizq, the reason for our provisions. That from the rainwater, as we know, crops grow. The crops grow, it allows us to have vegetation. It allows for the cattle to graze and eat from. And we benefit from all of that in terms of our rizq, in terms of our food, in terms of our sustenance. And no doubt we see the reality of the opposite of that. That when there's droughts, this directly affects the rizq of the people. It directly affects the provisions of the people. If you reflect and you ponder upon the points in time, and it's something which has happened, which occurs from time to time in different lands, where there are droughts and there is no rainwater for months, days, months, long periods, sustained periods of time. And this has a direct effect upon the people, their rizq, has a direct effect upon the quality of life of the people, has a direct effect upon the iqtisad, upon the economy of a particular land. And so, no doubt, this effect of the rainwater is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so this is a small example of how one of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala controls has a direct effect upon the quality of the lives that we live. And so when we do have this rainwater in abundance, then we should be from those individuals that are shakirun, those servants that are grateful. And this gratitude becomes manifest by way of our ibadah. This gratitude is manifest by way of our worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And inshallah we'll conclude with that point. Bi'idhnillah, and continue in our next lesson. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakum Allahu khayra. Wa sallallahu wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muḥammad. وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.